everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome here if you're new. In this video I'm sharing with you my Christmas advent calendar that I made with paper flowers. So let's get started. So here I have half of my Christmas advent calendar almost completed. It still needs the numbers and I haven't quite finished that yet. I did want to show the overall look of what the advent calendar is supposed to look like. And so I've half completed here. It does have my Christmas colors this year, which is red and pink. And so just to reiterate, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, my theme this year is pink, red, and white. And so I wanted to incorporate those colors, and I did want to make it less Christmassy because everything else is just Christmas everywhere. It's Christmas up the wazoo. So I wanted to move just a little bit away. But if you're using similar colors, what you could do is just go for gold rather than this sort of yellow goldenrod color that I have here. So more accents of gold or silver rather than the more spring colors that I have here. So for this organizer here, or this overall advent calendar, what I'm using is actually a desk organizer that has very similar in size compartments in this piece here. There are actually two different pieces, and so this is something I found on Amazon, and I will link it down below. And I went with this instead of many other options because I just thought this was the easiest thing to do. Dollar Tree does sell individual wooden boxes that you can decorate. I just didn't want to glue them together and have any pieces be mismatched in size and just have issues with gluing together nice and neat. So because this is just one piece here, I like that it's one solid piece, or in this case two, but that they're all fairly even. If you hear some noise in the background, that is my bunny jumping in his ball pit. Anyway, so this organizer here, I wanted something that was easy to make. Christmas is already busy enough, and it would have been nice if it was all in one piece like this. But this was great enough. This is something that you can split apart and then still have it part of your decor, so I'm planning to put this in our entryway. You can have it together and it still looks nice and festive. And traditionally what I've seen of advent calendars that are more of a permanent thing, the drawers are so tiny that you can barely even fit a Hershey's Kiss in it. And I just thought that I wanted something that was bigger and had more room to put things. And so for me, because I don't have kids just yet, I could put little makeup things or chapstick or anything like that that anybody can open up and still use and find as a great, advent calendar prize. So advent calendars are fairly straightforward. As you know, when that day approaches, you can actually take the prize that's behind each little door in the advent calendar. So here, for instance, if I was on this day in December, I could just lift this up. I would pull it by the flower itself, lift it up, and then take whatever prize was behind there. And so if you've already opened it up, also you can just close it as well back into the advent calendar, and it could just still be a nice little piece for display. So I just thought it would be so easy to make these half boxes here. I'll move these to the side. So I have all the pieces here for each individual box, and I have that just right there. But this is what the overall box looks like. Okay, so the flower template that I'm working with today is my mini template number 32, and it's not a template that I've released just yet. It's something I'm still working on and playing with different petal shapes and sizes and things like that to get a full template package, so it's not released yet, but you can use any flower petal that you want. This one will come out fairly soon. Holidays are just kind of busy, but what I like about this is it's flexible enough that you can make it and use it with a lot of different petal types or flower types, and so you can make a sunflower, a daisy, anything like that if you wanted with this template, or you can go with something a little more longer and skinnier. It's just versatile in my opinion, that you can just do a lot of different flowers that look like real live flowers using this paper template. But in terms of putting it together for this advent calendar. It is super easy. So what I like to use is a screwdriver, and that's because I just like the way that there's a handle here that I can hold, and then I can shape the petal with this tiny point here. So I have a screwdriver. You can use anything that you like, a pen, a glue stick, or anything that you find, or something maybe more professional to use to curl your petals. But all I do is I take the end of the screwdriver and just twist it around the sides of the petal. I give it a little squeeze and then I bend it at where it meets in the middle. So this just works really well for me because I like the way that I can hold it. It gives me a lot of control by holding it here with my fingers and then being able to curl these ends here. So that's just kind of why I like this particular tool. You can use anything that you like. So for this template, I am actually using a 3-inch size for this piece here. And what I have here is I have 8 pieces of that 3-inch width for this piece. They're all the same size, and so I wanted to keep it uniform. So here I have my 4 layers together. So the reason why I say it's 4 layers is I like to overlap them like this. And I wanted them all the same size because I like the way that it looks when they're all stuck together rather than using smaller sizes as I get towards the center of this. So just putting it together is just a matter of adding glue and then overlapping one petal over another. So I try to add as little glue as I can because the glue does add a bit of bulk to the center. So much of the time that it takes in creating these flowers is just cutting out the petal shapes from the paper and then also just giving it a curl. Assembling them is fairly easy. So from here, again, they're all the same size. All I do is just stack them right on top of another. And I want them directly on top of each other, so I don't try to offset it again. I just try to put it over. So this layer here, right there, is the first petal, and then it's offset by another one. And then this one's offset to match that first petal piece. And then I have another one. So I just stack them sort of on top of each other, but they do offset just a little bit. So I did stack these right on top of each other, and I like the way that it looks when it's stacked together. This is why I've done it this way. You can obviously glue it however that you like, and whichever way you think makes it look best. From here, all I do for the center is I take 3 of these flower centers here, and then I glue them together. Just a little bit of glue. I tried to offset it just a bit so that they're not directly on top of each other. So then it fills in some of that space and it kind of gives you a nice line all the way across that circle or the edges here. And then I give it a little curl with my bone folder. And then I add the glue. This is where I turn it upside down and I sort of pinch it tighter together. I add that to the center. And here I'm just going to shape it just a little bit. I'm going to push it together and then push down. So just, all it was just pushing it together like this and pushing down. And that way it covers the center nicely. And then it looks like a little fluffy center in there. And there's different ways you can play with this. Okay, so now my flowers are done, and you can see that was fairly easy, fairly painless. It just took a little bit of time to put them together, but they're nice and cute. They kind of look like daisies. I don't know, I really like those. I think roses would look really well too if you're doing rolled roses or any type of small tiny rose that can go right in the center. Okay, so from here, all that's left is just to add the leaves, and then my box would be done, other than adding in the different things behind the advent calendar. So for the leaves, it's actually just very easy. I cut out this file here from Fox Sisters, and I'll leave that link down below to the Etsy shop where you can purchase it. I purchased the file, and then I cut out the leaves very tiny. They're about 1.5 inches. And then I also created an offset and cut that in a darker green color, so that this sits on top of each other, and that's what it looks like. Just adds a little bit of detail. And then as for just adding the numbers for the advent calendar, I am just using cardstock numbers. I could do it in vinyl, I just don't have it in me right now to weed and get the vinyl out. So in order to put this all together, what I'll just use is my Xyron machines, or my Xyron sticker maker. So again, I'm going to move this off to the side. So this is that Xyron sticker maker that I did use in a previous video. And to just add glue to the back of this, just run this through and pull this through, and it adds an adhesive to the back of these leaves. Pull that off and it becomes a sticker. You just rub it just a little bit, and then you just peel off the film, and then it becomes a sticker, and then you just add that to whatever you're making. So of course I already have a ton of leaves already prepped along with the ones here, which I will take off. So I have a bunch of numbers here. It's actually not the best system, but this is what I've got. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just start running numbers through. Okay, so that is my finished overall advent calendar for Christmas 2020. I did want to talk about a few other options really quick, if I can make it really quick. So the organizers themselves, they were $32 total, so $16 each. That is a little pricey, but that was something that I plan to keep for a long time. But if you don't want to spend that money, obviously you could just make the boxes themselves. So what I have here is an 8 1/4 by 8 1/4 sheet of paper. I cut this down from an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of paper, so that's way I could get a little smaller than 8 1/2. So what I wanted was 2-inch depth. So I wanted the height of the box to be 2 inches. And so what I did was I took the 8 1/4 sheet of paper, and then I cut 2 inches. I measured 2 inches here and 2 inches here, and I made a cut line on my Silhouette Cameo, or you could just do this with scissors. You can just make sure that if you want a depth of 2 inches, you measure 2 inches in on both ends, and then it creates a square, and that's where you want your cut line. So basically you're going to imagine that these are the squares that will be glued to the side of your box. So I wanted this to be a 2-inch by 2-inch square. So I'm folding that so you can kind of see what I mean. And this is if you're just making an arbitrary box size. So the other one, for this one, I did have to measure quite a few times to make sure that the box would fit inside here. So the dimensions had to be close to exact to get them in there fitting right. If you're just making random boxes, you have a lot of leeway into making this, and it's a lot easier. So again, so I wanted that 2-inch by 2-inch square, and that's where I cut down. So from here, I'm just going to fold all sides. So now it's just a matter of gluing the flaps together to create that box. So again, I'm going to use my tape runner. From here, all I do is I just make sure that the flaps go up like this, and then I just bring in that remaining flap, and that becomes the side of my box. And then I do the same on this side. So there I have 1/2 of my box, and I can do the same with this other sheet. So now you have 2 sides, or 2 boxes, and then all you need to do is just put one inside the other, and then you have your little box. And so this, you can make a number of these for your own advent calendar boxes. So these are like mini presents, and I just I love them. So one way you can do it with just a box like this is you could just put a flower right in the middle. And what I did was I just added the one in a circle inside of it so that it looks like, let me just glue this down. So you can add leaves to the end or just add a ribbon and then put this on top. Set one out every day for whoever is opening it. Whatever you like, that's just a nice fun way to be able to make some things and then also be able to decorate them. I have one more, so I really like the blue, royal blue, navy blue colors. And so I added flowers on the side with a leaf, and then I added a snowflake and the number 1. So again, if you're doing this, you could just make 24 or 25 of them. It's just a fun way to make little boxes and be able to decorate them with paper flowers. So these are just my ideas. I just thought it would be fun to add paper flowers to all of these projects. So let me know if you have any questions, if you have a preference, or whether you'll be doing something like this. I know I'm posting this video a little late, but there's still time, and there are a lot of different things you can do. You can add any character that you want to. If you're having little kids that have a favorite character, you can also put characters on here and just make little boxes for them, and maybe it could have a little tiny toy inside. Obviously, because you're making the boxes yourself, if you're doing this, you can make them any size that you want. So if it's too big, you can make them smaller, or you could just add little paper shreds and add in a little gift or a little toy and then cover it like that. The reason why I like doing these boxes is there's just more flexibility that you can add bigger items. Some of those little advent calendar things have such tiny spaces, so something like this just makes it a little more flexible for whatever you want to get this year in these little boxes. So let me know if you have any questions down below, whether you'll be making anything, whether it's similar to this or not, and happy holidays. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.